everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Foxy and this is Foxy Books and Planning. This is my March reading wrap-up. I know I did not post my diamond paint-along or my sticker videos for this month. I just, with everything going on, I didn't want to film, or I didn't want to film a diamond paint-along because that was the only thing I was going to be able to talk about, and that's not something I want to talk about on this channel. Also, I did not buy any stickers this month. I had been thinking about buying stickers and I just never got around to it, and nothing really caught my eye this month in terms of a shop to try out. And now everybody's closed, so I don't know if I'll be doing a sticker video in April either. But for now, what I am going to do to replace the monthly sticker haul video, it will be later, it'll probably be early April, is I was debating doing a video along the lines of what Kitchen Stitch does, where she has started looking back at her previous haul videos and going, did I use that stuff? Did I really like it? Have my thoughts or feelings changed about what I purchased? And how would I purchase things differently going forward? So I'm going to try and do that for my August and September hauls in the near-ish future, but I have to go back and rewatch those videos to see what I did get, to tell you what I've used and what I think. So with that, let's jump into my currently reading, or my completed books for this month. This month I didn't read that many books. I've had a lot of books going for a long time, and I've just been on the library kind of carousel where I'll get a book and I'll be busy reading something else, so I'll only get 1 or 2 days in to read it, and then it'll go back to the library and I'll miss out on another couple of weeks of reading, and so things have been kind of stuttering. But I am really proud of this month, because this month, while I didn't read that many books, it was evenly split between books and audiobooks, which is something I haven't done in years, and I'm really proud of it. So the first book that I finished this month is called Final Girls by Riley Sanger. This is an ebook from my library, and I gave it 4 stars. I actually finished this one in the last day of February. I read it while I was on vacation, and it was really, really good. The general idea is that you're following a character who is a final survivor of a massacre along the lines of Friday the 13th or Halloween, and she is part of an elite group of girls called the Final Girls, and there's 3 of them. And the mystery sort of starts when one of the other Final Girls is found murdered in her home, and it kind of evolves from there. And there are 2 separate storylines going. So there's the main storyline of the mystery of what happened to this other Final Girl, and then there's the second thing, which is told in a series of flashbacks of our main character's original massacre, sort of seeing it as it unfolds. I really did enjoy this book. I did not see the twist coming. However, I did not particularly care for the twist, in my opinion. There were better ways to have done that particular twist. And while I understand that they did it that way because that was the least predictable route, it's not what I personally would have done if this had been my book, but it's not my book, so there's that. I really did enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to reading more Riley Sanger, and I'm happy that for once I've read a thriller where there is not a secret relative, because a lot of the thrillers that I've read recently have the secret family member plot twist, and that irritates me. So the next book I finished in the month of March is Serafina and the Black Cloak by Robert Betty. This is the first book in the Serafina trilogy. I had this as an ebook from my library, and I gave this 3 stars. So I read this for a couple of different reasons. One was that it's a highly recommended middle grade book. 2, it's set at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina, which is, I do live in the state of North Carolina, and I've never actually been to Biltmore. And so it was really interesting to read a book set there. And 3, I read it with the intention of including it in the My Neck of the Woods tag that I was tagged in last year and still have not done, because I have not found 5 books that I have read from My Neck of the Woods. So I'm working on it. In general, I didn't. So you're following Serafina, who is the chief rat catcher of the Biltmore estate, and she's being hidden away in the basement by her father. And there is a mysterious black-cloaked man who is stalking the halls of the estate and essentially eating children. And so Serafina teams up with the Vanderbilt's nephew who lives at Biltmore to figure out who the Black Mask is and how to stop the children disappearing. And there's also some stuff about who Serafina really is and that kind of stuff. In general, I felt maybe I've just grown out of middle grade where I can't really enjoy it as much as I used to. But I didn't enjoy this book particularly much. I really enjoyed the main story. I enjoyed puzzling out who the Black Cloak was. I enjoyed the interplay between Serafina and the Vanderbilt nephew, but I didn't appreciate the pacing. I didn't appreciate the kind of big reveals that happen at the end. And I know it's the first book in a series, so they're trying to set up characters and we're trying to set up locations and things. And I know that one of the big draws of this book was that it was set at Biltmore, but as an ebook, there were pages and pages and pages of room descriptions where there are whole sections where you just follow Serafina through the various rooms of the estate, and they are described in almost 19th century level detail. And while I do really enjoy that as an adult reader, it really slowed the pacing of the book. It took up a lot of the book. It's not a very long book. It's less than 300 pages. And everything felt incredibly rushed at the end because we spent all of this time describing the Biltmore estate. And I felt like if we had maybe cut a little bit of the description, there would have been more time for the plot to really breathe and for the falling action to really happen. Because one of the things that I really, really dislike about books, and it's not just middle grade, young adult and adult books do this as well, is where the plot is exposition, 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 and then you get to the last 50 to 100 pages of a book, 50, 25 pages of a book, and all of a sudden we have action, 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 done. And there's really no falling action, there's really no resolutions, it's just climax done. And I really don't like it. I really wish authors would pace their books in a way so that the climax really happens at the 50 to 75, maybe 80% mark if you're pushing it. And then have that last 20% to 30% falling action where we have our climax and then things can still continue to happen after the climax, but they happen in a way that resolves everything in the story or sets up another book or that kind of thing. But I do recommend this for younger readers. I do think it's a great middle grade book, and I'm debating whether or not I want to try book 2 to see if the series gets better. All right, the next book I finished for the month is An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekanen. Apologies if I butchered that last name. I got it as an audiobook from my library and I gave it 4 stars. So with this one, we're following our main character who is a makeup artist in New York City who's trying to support her family back home. And she worms her way into a psychology study about morality and ethics. And things begin to happen with her relationship with the psychiatrist who's running the study. And things just kind of unfold in a very thrillery way. I really enjoyed this for a multitude of reasons. I enjoyed our unreliable narrators because we do have 2 narrators. We have our main character who is the makeup artist, and we do get a lot of scenes from the psychologist's point of view. I appreciated that the psychologist's view is written in second person, where the psychologist is speaking directly to our main character, but it's written in second person, so everything is you. I appreciated the pacing. I appreciated the twists. I appreciated the unreliability of everyone involved. You don't know who's telling the truth, when, or why, or if there's secondary motives for all the characters. And I really appreciated how it wrapped up at the end. I really do highly recommend this one, and I'm looking forward to reading, I believe it's The Wife Between Us is the next one, which I know Books and Lola and I believe it's Emily Fox have both read and don't particularly care for, but I'm hoping that that one is similar enough to An Anonymous Girl that, at least in tone and writing style, that I will enjoy it. I really hope they're not one of those thriller writer people who reuse the same plot twists over and over and over. All right, next is one that I have as an actual physical book. This one is Damsel by Elena K. Arnold. I believe, was I working on this last month? No. So this one's been on my to-read pile for a while, and I wanted a break from thrillers, so I picked this one up. It's a young adult fantasy, and I originally bought this on a whim in the bookstore based on the synopsis on the book jacket, which is basically that this kingdom, the way that they do succession is the crown prince, when his father dies, goes out into the wilderness and slays a dragon and brings back a damsel. And that damsel becomes his queen and the mother of his children, etc., etc. And so the book starts with us following that prince to kill his dragon. And then we get our main character, who is Amma, coming back to this kingdom, assimilating into this kingdom, and secrets are revealed about the nature of her being and the nature of the kingdom and the nature of this rite that all the crown princes go through. And I gave this book 1 star. I should have DNF'd it. I did not, because it's short. It's like 309 pages. I read it in 2 days. 2 sittings. So I read the first 100 pages one night, and then the second night I was like, I don't particularly care for this, but it's short and it's easy to read, so let's blast through the last 200 pages. This book has the same complaints that I do with Serafina. Basically, nothing happens in the book until the last 5 pages. There are some things that happen, some subplots that are going on, but the main mystery, the main actions, the main brouhaha, I guess is one way to put it, doesn't happen until the last 5 pages of the book. I figured out what the twist was, because there is a twist in this that I don't want to spoil, about 10 pages into meeting Amma. And so there's the main twist, and then there's a secondary twist on that twist, which I don't particularly care for. This is I would not recommend this for a lot of people. There is a non-consensual relationship, there's self-harm, there's talk of rape. It's just not a very, like, I'm used to young adult being, what's the word I'm looking for? Tackling difficult topics in difficult ways. But this takes it to a whole nother level. And I didn't particularly care about any of the characters. I didn't particularly care for the writing style. I didn't particularly care for the pacing. And the resolution of the book is just trash. And I'm kind of annoyed that I wasted my money and my time on it. I do not recommend this. But I did finish it, and I am going to be selling it or donating it to my library or something to get it out of my collection. Maybe someone else would enjoy this more, but I definitely did not enjoy this. And when I actually took a second to look through the Goodreads reviews when I was done writing mine, a lot of people agree with me. This is a book where you either love it or you hate it, and I'm one of the people who hates it. Okay, the next book I finished for the month of March is the Bromance Book Club, which I didn't write down the author's name for. Please hold. Okay, so the next book that I finished was the Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is the first book in the Bromance Book Club series. There were 2 other books currently published in it. And I had this as an audiobook from my library. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. It is a romance novel, and the general idea of it is that a baseball star has been asked for a divorce from his wife after a situation happens in their relationship, and his teammates introduce him to a secret book club that men in the Nashville area have to help better understand their wives and keep their relationships, where they read romance novels, which they call manuals. And so in this book, we follow the main character who is reading Courting the Countess, because the book club has decided that this book is the most relevant to his situation. And we see the rebuilding of the relationship between him and his wife. There is a lot of silly shenanigans. There is a lot of explicit content towards the end of the book. And it is an adult romance, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was light. The more explicit sections were very well done, and I'm really interested in continuing with the next book in the series and with everything that was going on in the world. It really was a breath of fresh air to have something kind of happy and silly to read and get my mind off of everything that was going on. All right. The last book that I finished for the month is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I had this as an audiobook from my library, and I gave it 3 stars. The general idea is that we're following a couple of different women in West Hall, Vermont, I believe. Let me just check. Yes, West Hall, Vermont. So we're following a variety of different women in this town. And there's some mysterious supernatural disappearances and legends. And so one of our storylines takes place in 1908, where we're following Sarah Harrison Shea, who is kind of the origin point of all of these strange things happening. And then we follow a present day girl who is looking for her mother and lives in Sarah Harrison Shea's old home. And there are a lot of secrets, a lot of supernatural elements. And we're basically talking about zombies that are called winter people. So they're called walkers, where they are the dead who have been brought back for 7 days to live in the earth and whatnot. And Sarah Harrison Shea talks about being able to see ghosts and whatnot. So part of the reason I gave this 3 stars was that I really liked the writing style and I liked the tone. And it started off really well and really compelling. Like I was hooked reading the first 10 to 15% of the book, which focuses almost solely on Sarah Harrison Shea. There isn't a whole lot of flashback or flash forwards. But my big problem is that we didn't set up the central mystery early enough. So I got to 50% in the book and I'm like, I don't know what we're trying to figure out at this point. I don't know what my mystery is. I don't know what thrillery element I'm supposed to be waiting to be revealed. And I was just kind of let down by that. In addition, personally, I feel like there were too many plot lines in this book. It's a short book for a supernatural thriller. It's only 317 pages. But with the storylines that we have going on, there isn't enough time for all the storylines to breathe, the plot to drive, and the mysteries to unravel. I felt like by the end of it, if we had the two main plot lines that were going on, and then the third one was like was cut entirely or was a side tale because it didn't really add anything to the story. We would have had more time for our characters to breathe, for our plot to drive, and for the mysteries to unfold. But in general, I did enjoy it. I was a little frustrated by the ending, but that is neither here nor there. But yeah, so with that, I will move into the things that I am currently reading, which there are a lot, and a lot of our old favorites are in this as well. So the first one is one that I just started a couple of days ago, which is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I have it as a library audiobook, and I'm currently at 16% in the audiobook. The next one is Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield, which is a library audiobook. I've made 12% progress from the previous month. So a little bit of progress, but that one is also slow going. It's an incredibly long audiobook, and I'm just like, oh my god. Next one, I actually made progress on Love in the Time of Cholera last month by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I have this in a library ebook, and I've made 2% progress, but it is progress. The next one, The Untold Stories of Jack the Ripper's Victims by Haley Rubenhold. I got this back from my library for a couple of days and managed to make 16% progress on it, but I've lost the hold again. I hopefully with the next time I get it back from my library, I'll be able to finish it. I'm on victim 4 of 5, and she's the longest section, so I'm hoping I can get through the last little bits. Next one, I started Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel, which is the first book in the Wolf Hall series. I got to 35% before the library automatically returned my audiobook, and I'm waiting for the hold again. My next one, First, Sandra Day O'Connor by Evan Thomas. I've made no progress on this month as a library ebook. Lord Foul's Bane by Stephen R. Donaldson, which is an ebook that I own. I've made no progress on. Heart of Europe by Peter Wilson, audiobook, no progress made this month. And then last, my physical book that I've been working on, which is Children of Blood and Bone by Tony Adeyemi. I've made 11%, or I'm on page 60. So I just started reading this month, and I'm on page 60. So this one is going to be slow going, but I'm going to try to read a couple of pages every day to hopefully get through it. It is a very interesting story, and I'm actually really into it as a book. I did try it as an audiobook and didn't enjoy it as much, but I do enjoy reading it. All right, with that, we come to what is on deck for the next month. And I do have an audiobook and a book this month. So for my audiobook, my on deck is Undeading Bells, which is Fred the Vampire Accountant, book 6 by Drew Hayes. I was super excited when my significant other told me that this book was available, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to reading the next installment of Fred. My book I have is an ebook from my library. I'm going to read Thunderhead by Neil Schusterman. This is Scythe Book 2. And I only have a couple of days left on the library hold, so I might actually drop what I am currently reading and try and get this one read. Hello, lovely viewers and listeners. Editing Fox here. So, in a funny twist of fate, it took me more than a couple of days to get this edited and uploaded for you. And since the time that I filmed this, I have actually completed Thunderhead. I finished it in about 3 days. 2 days, 3 days. It was one of those books that I just couldn't put down. I did give it 5 stars. I really, 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 really enjoyed this book and highly recommend this series to people. Um, the general idea is that it's a future where everything has been taken over by a benevolent AI called the Thunderhead, and mortality has been eliminated. And one of the ways that the Thunderhead has controlled the population is they have a separate governing body called the Scythedom, where people are trained to be bringers of death, and they are allowed to choose the people who die and how they die. And each of Scythe is trained by an older Scythe. And when they ascend to their Scythedom, they pick a name of a historical person that will be their, what do they call it? Historic, basically their namesake and who they will emulate in life. And so the first book follows Citra and Rowan as they are being trained by Scythe Faraday. And so this book follows them
as junior scythes and the political shenanigans that unfolds. And I actually prefer this book to the first book. There's a whole lot less time spent on Rowan and Citra's relationship. And it's just, you get more world building, there's more information provided about the Thunderhead and how it works and how the Scythedom works. And I'm really excited to get book 3, which I've already got a hold on, and it will probably be 2 or 3 months before I get to read that one. But needless to say, highly, highly recommend, and I'm looking forward to the next book. And thank you all for this brief interruption, and now back to our regularly scheduled video.
So with that, we come to the end of the video, and it's time to look at the statistics for this month. So this month I've read 6 books, I have 9 books in progress, and I have 2 books on deck, and I have made probably, I'm gonna add this because I want to see. Between all of my currently readings, I have 92% of a book read. So 92% book reading this month. So I've almost got a whole another book read in the amount of progress I've made, which I'm really excited about. Woo! So with that, I will end here. Please remember to comment down below. I love hearing from you guys and talking to you guys about your thoughts on any of the books I've read, anything you would recommend I try out. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!